Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to the English online class. We are going to take up today part 2 of the lesson Princess September. Yesterday we did part 1 of the text Princess September. Princess September is a beautiful story by the great writer Somerset Maugham, and it is about the king and queen of Thailand, who had many daughters. And so the queen got confused in remembering their names. So the king decided that he is going to name his daughters after the months. Of course, in Siamese language. Siam is now called Thailand. And he called them January, February, March, so on, till he came to the youngest daughter, who was called September. Now the king of Siam had a very strange, peculiar habit, and this habit was on receiving, on his birthday, instead of people giving him gifts, he used to give gifts. So one year on his birthday, as he could not find anything easily available, so he decided that he would give his daughters, each of his daughters, a green parrot in a golden cage. And all the princes were very happy to receive this gift, and they were very proud of their parrots, and they used to spend an hour every day in teaching their parrots to talk. So all the parrots started saying, "God save the king," and also "Pretty Polly," and in 7 Eastern Oriental languages. So one day, when Princess September, she went to say good morning to her parrot, she found it was lying dead at the bottom of this golden cage. Now she started crying, and her maids of honor, they are the women who were looking after the princess. They tried to control her, comfort her, but she would not listen. And so they discussed this matter with the queen. Now the queen got angry, and she said it was real nonsense. And she also said to put Princess September to bed without any supper. Supper is a night meal. So the maids of honor, they had to go to a party, and they put Princess September to bed as quickly as they could, because they had to rush for the party. And Princess September was left alone, crying, hungry, when she noticed that a little bird had hopped into her. A bird hops, jumps. So this bird came to her room, and now she wiped her tears and she sat up. The bird began singing, and the bird sang a very beautiful song. And this song was about the lake in the king's garden, the willow trees, the goldfish, and the princess found the song so melodious that she stopped crying. And she also forgot that she had no supper and she was very hungry. She said to the bird that this was a very nice song. And the bird gave her a bow. And she said that you can keep me in place of your parrot. I'm not so pretty to look at, but I have a very melodious voice. Now Princess September was very happy, and the bird hopped to the end of her bed, and the bird started again singing songs, and Princess September was brought to sleep. We did up till here in yesterday's class. Today we are going to continue further. When she awoke next day, the little bird was still there, and as she opened her eyes, he said, "Good morning." The maids of honor brought in her breakfast, and he ate rice out of her hand, and he had his bath in her saucer. He began to sing again so beautifully that the maids of honor were quite surprised, for they had never heard anything like it, and Princess September was very proud. And so the next morning when Princess woke up, the bird was there, and the bird said, "Good morning." So the maids of honor, they brought in the morning breakfast for Princess September. Princess September offered the bird rice, and she gave him rice out of her own hand, and she bathed him in her saucer, in her bowl. Now the bird began to sing. The maids of honor were very surprised because they had never heard such a beautiful song. And Princess September was very happy, and she was very proud that she had such a melodious bird. "Now I want to show you to my 8 sisters," said the princess. The princess said, "I am going to show you to my sisters, my 8 sisters." She stretched out the first finger of her hand so that it served as a perch, as a resting place. Perch is resting place. So she stretched out her first finger of her right hand, and the bird sat there, and then, followed by her maids of honor, she went through the palace and called on each of the princes. So she started calling each of the princes to come. She was going round the palace, and for each of them, the little bird sang a different song. But the parrots could only say, "God save the king," and "Pretty Polly." At last she showed the little bird to the king and queen. They were surprised and delighted. Now, the Princess September's other sisters had parrots, but these parrots could only say, "God save the king," and "Pretty Polly." Princess September bird was singing such a beautiful song. Even the king and queen, they were very surprised and they were very happy. "I knew I was right to send you to bed without any supper," said the queen. The queen said, "I think it was right that I sent you to bed without any supper, because now you've got such a nice bird. This bird sings much better than the parrots." The king said that this bird of Princess September sings much better than the parrots. "I should have thought you got quite tired of hearing people say, 'God save the king,'" said the queen. "I can't think why those girls wanted to teach their parrot to say it too." So even the queen said that you must have got bored listening to the parrots, and people, they are saying always, "God save the king." But I cannot understand why the girls, they taught the parrots only this sentence, "God save the king." "The sentiment is admirable," said the king. "I never mind how often I hear it, but I do get tired of hearing those parrots say 'Pretty Polly.'" Now the king said, "Fine, if they are saying 'God save the king,' it is a good feeling. I feel happy. But then, when these parrots, they repeatedly keep saying 'Pretty Polly,' I feel very bored. They say it in 7 different languages." The princess immediately said in defense of their parrots, "But our parrots are saying this in 7 different languages." "I dare say they do," said the king, "but it reminds me too much of my counselors. They say the same thing in 7 different ways, and it never means anything in any way they say it. The manner in which they say 'Pretty Polly' in 7 different languages, it reminds me of my council of ministers. They also say the same thing in 7 different styles, but ultimately it does not mean anything." The princes were vexed at this. They were worried, they were distressed at this remark of the king. The parrots looked very glum indeed, and even the parrots looked very sad, because now the competitor had come, the bird who was being praised by the king and queen and everyone. But Princess September ran through all the room of the palace, singing like a lark, while the little bird flew round and round her, singing like a nightingale. But Princess September was very happy. She was running around all the rooms of the palace singing, and the bird was also following her, singing like a nightingale. Things went on like this for several days. Then the 8 princes put their heads together. Means they were planning something, discussing amongst them something. They went to September and sat down in a circle round her. So, after discussing amongst themselves, they went to Princess September and they surrounded her. What did they say? My poor September, they said. We are sorry for the death of your beautiful parrot. It must be dreadful for you not to have a poor pet bird as we have. So we all have put our pocket money together and we are going to buy you a lovely green and yellow parrot. They said, we are very sorry that your parrot has died. Now you don't have any pet. What we are going to do, what we have decided is that we are going to put in all our pocket money and we are going to buy for you a lovely green and yellow parrot. Thank you for nothing, said September. I have a pet bird which sings the most charming songs to me. I don't know what on earth I should do with a green and yellow parrot. So Princess September said that I have already a pet bird and this bird sings beautiful songs. I don't know why I should go for a green and yellow parrot. Well, my dear, they said, it is absurd to talk of your bird, where the little fellow flies in and out just as he likes. They looked round the room and raised their eyebrows. So they said that it is very absurd to talk in this way about your bird, but then your bird keeps flying from room to room. And then they said, do you mind our asking where your bird is now? They said that if we ask you, where is your bird? Will you be able to reply? Princess September said he has gone to pay a visit to his father-in-law. So Princess September said that my bird has gone to pay a visit to his father-in-law's house. And what makes you think he will come back? Asked the princess. The princess said that do you think that he is going to come back? He always does come back, said September. Princess September said that whenever my bird goes, he returns back. Well, my dear, said the 8 princes, if you will take our advice, you won't run any risk like that. If he comes back, and mind you, if he does, you will be lucky. Pop him into the cage and keep him there. That's the only way you can be sure of him. So, this was the advice of the 8 sisters. The 8 sisters said, if your bird comes back, which we don't think will, but if he comes back, we have a suggestion for you. You can just put him into the cage and the bird is going to be with you like this always and will never go away. But I like to have him fly about the room, said the young Princess September. Princess September said, I like my bird to fly around the room. Safety first, said her sisters ominously. They got up and walked out of the room, shaking their heads, and they left September very uneasy. So they said, first thing is safety. We wish that your bird does not fly away. And saying this, they left the place. They left the room. And Princess September was all alone in her room for it. We'll stop here. We'll continue with this in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care.